And welcome to Gem Collectors Show with Shawn. I'm Shawn. Um, Graduated high school in 1979, and so or learned opal cutting and cabochonting from an old hippie and who lived with a bunch of other, well, you all would call them hippies now, but just long-haired, wonderful people. And I guess if I had to ever say what generation I relate to, it would be the 70s. I am that 70s show, is what I used to tell people. Graduating 79, so I spent my entire teen years in the 70s. And it is truly the decade of the best music ever written. So, okay, that said, absolutely pertaining to nothing else except for the fact that in the 70s is when I first started taking gem cutting lessons down in Sarasota, Florida in 1972. I was 11 years old. And just progressed from there. Wonderful, wonderful, lifelong, almost be 65 here in January. And wow, you know, wow. Uh, the stories I could tell, the places I've been, the things I've experienced, the near death experiences, the stupid things I've done, all in pursuit of or related to my passion and love of gems, minerals, fossils, and those kind of things. So, I have survived to this point, and hey, I have a few good years left, and you know, I feel blessed, as I was just telling Latif, uh, because it's taken a lifetime of knowledge to be able to get to this point, and still learning every week. But it's nice also at times to be recognized for that. So, um, as Anthony commented in the comments here, we're going to read in a moment that I had teased y'all, and he was correct. There was a tease in there about I need to sell what I have now because I won't say when, so no one's disappointed, but in some time, in not too far off distance, there's going to be some amazing things you're going to see pass through here. So, as if you haven't already, um, yeah, some great things, and maybe even some great things that will be featured in a live show. Because for some of the price points we're going to be considering, it may need to be opened up to the live show for the broader audience. So yeah, I'm looking forward to a lot of things to come, as all of you should be as well, because we also are going to try something. Latif and I were going over it because we had talked about it before, how we can maybe do an auction. So what we are going to consider, and today may be the pilot event, the first of, and we'll tell you more about it. We'll tell you more about it as I go along or towards the end. But as I told Latif, yep, it sounds like another good way for Shawn to lose money, and that's good enough for me, because if I'm losing money, that means you guys are getting the benefit of that, and I know and hope that it'll draw some participation. We'll talk about that later. All right, let's get to the comments so we can get to the items. I am going to try to do a show and go again today. We have new items you haven't seen before. We have items deeply discounted. We have items you need to really purchase. Many of you got in on a long list of items that from last week's show. So look for some more of the same amazing deals. And maybe items that, well, I do have a regret. And Miss Barbara made off with it, so I'm glad it was, of course, within the family, and she got that incredible lepidolite, that incredible crystal purple lepidolite, and so she received it, and of course, it was everything that she could hope for in a piece. So I like that. I like that someone got a fantastic deal on that relative to what they are selling for. Bad business on my part. I should again put all my finances into Latif's hands, because that boy, he knows how to make a buck, as you have heard him do so, or try to do so in this show. Okay, we start off from the Mr. Brad. Mr. Brad in Pennsylvania, a very wise man indeed. He says, to Shawn, the boss lady, the Christie keeper, Chuck, Latif, and Asif, convalescing in absentia, A few years ago, I managed to snag one of Shawn's 1400 karat Mysore ruby crystals. Yeah, that incredible piece, that one like that I showed last week. I have come to appreciate trigons, aka record keepers. I have also been able to collect quartz crystals with trigons. So I'm wondering what other crystals may have trigons. I would think other sapphire crystals if they have similar are similar to rubies. I have not seen trigons elsewhere, but I have read that spodumines or pyrite crystals may exhibit trigons. Are there other examples? I wouldn't mind collecting some examples for future reference. Okay, so for those of you not quite familiar with the trigons, you have to just go back to last week's show and you can remember, just fast forward through it quickly and look for, I think it was towards the beginning of the show, I featured, and it was the last time I think I'm going to feature because that thing is going home if it does not sell, a monster size. I'm trying to remember the gram weight or the carat weight to it. It was large. And it hadn't sold before. So I offered it one more time, and it was a floater, and it has triangles on the termination, on the end of the hexagonal crystals on both ends. And you may remember it because the way they were arranged, and often are arranged, is it looks like, well, first they're elevated above the surrounding crystal ever so slightly, but it looks like the radiation symbol that we're used to seeing with the inward facing, symmetrically juxtapositioned triangles in a circle. And that's how one of the ends looks. So really neat. Okay, really neat. Those are trigons. And the triangles are almost always, in other words, uh, what we would call what was it? An isosceles triangle, equal side, or no, equilateral triangle. And now, as far as other quartz, yes, quartz is one, and diamond. Diamond actually will have trigons, but they can be found in a reverse. Instead of them being raised, they are, well, concave inward. And by the way, here is, my mom always had great ways to how to remember things. Even taught me how to remember stalactite versus stalagmite and which is which. Stalactite, she said, and remember, mom was a big supporter of my hobby when I started getting into it at 11 years old. So how she was telling me this, I don't know, because she was a really religious education teacher, and well, and other very very smart things, but not having to do with minerals or any kind of earth sciences. So she said a stalactite is spelled, remember, with a C for ceiling. Okay, ceiling with a C. Okay, yeah. And she goes, and stalagmite are the ones that grow up from the bottom because the G stands for ground. So stalagmite for ground, in other words, it grows from up from the ground. Stalactite for ceiling, those are the ones that grow down from the ceiling, referring to the cave formations that are found mostly out of calcite. So that has always stuck with me. And so she taught me the other one was convex and concave. She said you can always remember concave is something that you go into, in other words, down, and versus convex, which she didn't have one. All you had to do was remember one, then you knew what the other was. Convex, of course, is an outward, like a cabochon is a convex cabochon. You can have a concave intaglio or a raised intaglio. So, yeah, it's one of those words that is used within the lapidary trade. So, diamonds, due to their heat and pressure, the way they can remelt and crystallize or etched, it can form a triangle that is downward in it instead of raised triangle or trigon. Now, the other thing is the spodumene ones, when you refer to trigons with spodumene, they are pseudo trigons because the way they tend to form is with elongated sides and a end that is often not perfectly straight. It'll be somewhat curved, at times. So not really the trigons that we think of, and specific conditions have to occur for that to happen. Now, spinels will have trigons. Fluorite will have trigons. So when you start thinking about this, spinel, fluorite, diamonds, um, what are the common denominators here? You know, spinel. What is all similar? Well, to me, what stands out is the fact that they all form and pyrite in the cubic crystal system. So that seems, like it could be related, except for corundum. Corundum is kind of outside of that, whereas the others are. So more, it would be neat to collect specimens. It would be something to look into, but there probably is some correlation that some crystal system that relates and forms more commonly trigons than other ones. But an interesting one that I'm going to start watching for crystals now for that formation of the trigon pattern. Yeah, leave it to you, Mr. Brad, to come up with that pondering. Oh, as he says, I pondered Shawn's desire to figure out how to run a mineral auction. It won't work logistically unless Shawn can do it live, like maybe in a Zoom call. But I would hate to bid against an expert like Miss Gabby or Miss Barber. It would be a lose-lose situation for me since I know they are super smart. Like you're not, Mr. Brad. They could outbid me with no problem for the true rarities. If I am bidding up the price on an item and they suddenly quit bidding, then I know I went too high. Yeah, that's bad when that happens. Yeah. I only went to one auction. It was a DEA auction. Oh yeah, this has been, back in my, again, I guess my learning curve. I knew a lot. I'd set a lot of diamonds by the time I was 22, 23, but it was in that area. Yeah, I guess by the time I was even 24, 25, I had set um, a 13 karat diamond round and maybe 5 diamonds over 10 carats. Who knows, over 3 carats. That was when the really hot market for the big natural color, natural diamonds, but they were big diamonds that had color. Like they weren't fancies, but they were like what I call the LML PQ RSTs. That range of yellow, big and clean. And I was making money for it, doing a big business. And I remember in a rush job one time, I was to set it was over 10 carats, a big diamond in a man's belcher setting. And they needed it within hours. And I guess it was the most I ever charged for a setting job. And I was 23 or 4 years old. Wasn't old, but certainly there was no one else in town, even by that age, that was experienced at doing this, especially in a rush, as I was, apparently, because they were willing to pay me $3,000. It took, about 3 hours of me really taking my time, and it came out fantastic. And I made my $1,000 an hour, which I have spent the rest of my life never achieving. So I peaked out at about 24, I guess. And since then, if it weren't for Latif adding something, to these pieces, I'd be really, bad business. No, he tries, but he still can't break my habit of not making money. Okay, so in Mr. Brad's pondering about an auction, won't work, he says. Well, we'll talk about that later. Shawn, I was intrigued with your idea for using K&J magnetics, 1/2 inch N52 cylindrical neodymium magnet to go fishing for iron. Well, that's just the actual official one, the small one. I don't recommend that one if you're really going to go fishing. What they do, what they call magnetic fishing. You get the bigger ones. Now, they get more expensive in neodymium, and if you get one on either side of your arm, it will absolutely break your arm. If you get two stuck together, you cannot pull them apart without outside mechanization or some kind of other, or someone really, really much stronger than most of us are. Yeah, so they come with all kinds of warnings because of how powerful two of them are. So they also, like, if you got one of these large ones stuck to your refrigerator, it would be well, you'd be carrying around the refrigerator door with you. You get a whole choice. They have all kinds of different sizes, and it's a big thing now. But it's a really big thing in Europe and England, where the Iron Age and the history goes way back thousands of years. So you have stuff you can find that's iron that's valuable. Here, our our history doesn't go back. Well, you know what? The biggest thing you can find is, and being from North Georgia, remember that's where I am. One of the biggest things they say that you could ever find would be any remnant left over when Hernando de Soto marched through Florida and up into Georgia. And there's even waterfalls called the Soto Falls, because, as I don't know about history, but as legend, more legend might have it, an old sword and helmet from the conquistador era were found in that area. And it's possible because De Soto's march, and also remember, we had there was um, throughout anything Cortez, so there was, the only source of iron came from the ships that came from Europe, and you know, to have iron here, you had to establish and find iron deposits, right? So things took time, and we just don't have that many things that old in iron. All right. To go fishing for iron, that would help you locate the black sands that are an indicator for placer gold. Since it is too hot to be out trolling the rivers in Georgia, you could bring your shovel and sluice up to locate flour gold in the black sands on the shores of Lake Superior. You know what? I bet Latif is going to be Googling this in a minute. He does that. That's why he's so smart. The water rarely gets above 45 degrees in case you need to stay cool. All you need is a little breeze to blow away the flying/biting/chewing insects. See the link below. Note the state of Michigan regulates the sluice size and length and methods for processing the pay. So he sent me a link for, basically, if you just Google gold at Lake Superior. So apparently something I didn't know. Apparently there's black sands. But remember, I talked about my mercury tort a few weeks ago, where it's actually used. You can mix the mercury with black sand. There's actually black sand, and I save all my black sand, which is the heavy metal that is left at the bottom of your pan, and your gold trails at the end of that, because it's even heavier than the black sands. Your black sands, made up of ilmenite, rutile. I had them assayed one time. I wasn't supposed to talk much today. That's right. I was going to show and go. Anyway, I can't help myself. So yeah, I had it assayed. And you know what? One of the rare earths, gallium. Gallium is actually found in a fairly high percentage of black sand, as well as other rare earths. And so that was pretty interesting to find that out. And so anyway, I save all my black sand because microscopically there is gold that tends to adhere to the black sand, and using a mercury retort pulls any of the gold off of the black sand. And you know, and if you want to know how I recover the mercury, go back a few shows and listen. That's why you got to watch every show. You never know what you're going to learn. But because I have it all, I have 3 different sluices, I have 3 diving suits that you can run. You know, it's not like you have to be a scuba diver. No, it's just an air hose to the mask type of easy thing, just so you don't have to come up every minute. And the water is about 3 or 4 feet deep. It just keeps you underwater in safe environment. Is the only place I would do it. And I have just the places to do that. But I'm not going to give away all my secrets. So anyway, black sand on Lake Superior holding gold. That is a new one. I was amused by the unplanned disassembly mishap when the kyanite crystal came loose out of the specimen. I could kind of hear Latif trying to tell you it happened in a discreet manner, as if you were unaware that it happened. I was imagining Latif having to come right out and tell you, Awkward. Kind of like having to tell someone that they have broccoli in their teeth or that their pants are ripped. But you made a great recovery and made it add value to the sale. Two specimens for the price of one, and the single kyanite crystal was the finest you ever had. Only a pro could improvise like that. I thought that was really complimentary, actually, what you wrote regarding that. And yes, when we shoot this show, we shoot it like a live show. There's no do overs except for my bad word. I said, and that's actually the first time where it was like, we had to tell Uriel to edit something. That the crystal of kyanite did break while we were shooting that, and no, it was it was not so like they use in rocket terminology, a unplanned disassembly of the specimen. But in the end, yeah, to get to see the quality of the kyanite crystal, and I don't know how many shows, Brad, you've watched. You had to watch just about every one to know that for a single kyanite crystal, I haven't ever sold any other one but that one like that. So how you knew that, I'm not sure, but good on you, mate. And really, it is two specimens because there's so much more you can do with the crystal by way of learning to have it loose like that. Or you could also practice the art of repair, which it is an art. People get paid a lot of money to repair mineral specimens. In other words, put them back together. As a matter of fact, the huge sweet home pocket that they hit, that was like, just a wall of rhodochrosites. They were all well pictured. It was disassembled and all put back together in, I think it's the Denver Museum. Also, the Colorado smoky quartz and amazonites, they are well known, very rare. Do the specimens hold together? There's not a lot of molecular bonding between the quartz and the amazonite. So they have hit wonderful pockets before, or just great specimens. They take good pictures of it because, the crystals will come apart, and they reassemble them. It's accepted in the trade, especially with specimens like that, but it also is disclosed in cases as it should be. The Amazonite smoky quartz, you can almost assume most of them have been reassembled, but done very professionally, and that takes time and money in doing that to do it right. But the value of the specimens are certainly well worth it. So anyway, Mr. Brad, thank you for the compliment. As when I saw that crystal come off, it was absolutely rewording my presentation as a save. So thank you for making it sound like it was an intended presentation and it was meant to happen. So let's see, where are we? Continuing with last week's discussion on harmful environmental practices and catastrophes, in October 1948, a fog descended on the tiny mill town of Donora, Pennsylvania. With a population of fewer than 15,000, the town's main industry was steel and zinc mills, mills that continually emitted pollutants into the air. A 6-day smog event left 21 people dead. I know, and thousands sick. Even after the fog lifted, hundreds more died or were left with lingering health problems. The event led to the nation's first Clean Air Act in 1955. Google Donora death smog tragedy, Pennsylvania. I did not know that. I was not aware of that. I am aware, though, of in Central Africa, where I don't know which lake, Tanganyika, one of the big volcanic lakes, or big enough. What can happen is water turns over. In other words, the water is stratified, as like hot and cold, like we feel that when we're in the water at the beach. We can feel different layers of temperature, often sometimes in a pool even, and thermoclines. So same thing can happen in these geologic lakes, where at the very bottom of the lake, and many of them are really deep, there's no oxygen, just almost no oxygen, methane gas, uh, sulfur, and um, sulfur gases. So the lake burped, so to speak, and it turned over. The bottom water moved to the top, and the top water sank to the bottom, creating a cloud, or well, I think it was actually an invisible cloud. And people were sleeping when it happened, and it ended up killing thousands of people, and it was just kind of a natural catastrophe. And I don't know how you protect against something like that. What happened, of course, out west, and then in New Mexico, and these kind of flooding, and Texas flooding and all. You know, blame is something secondary to the human loss, which, especially for the children, how tragic when you think of what the last moments, going down, whether you're going down a river, where you're stuck in a log jam, whatever it may be, it isn't pleasant. So it's a tough to think and bear, and then then the anger will come. And I've seen flash flooding in the creek when I lived in the mountains, but nothing anywhere ever where the water approached the home. Yes, it might have gone over a bridge or something like that, but never where life has been threatened. That was um, catastrophic, truly. So hearts and prayers out to really the families, and then the missing. Wow, wow. All right, so only a pro could improvise like that. Thank you, Mr. Brad, and a note of encouragement for Shawn. Not to worry, a cuss word slipping out now and then can be forgiven and atoned for. Slip your editor a little extra cash in the stocking as a Christmas bonus to edit out the blooper. You have made a good public confession. Just do a little penance when you get home, like Ralphie did in the Christmas story. We got everybody laughing now. Everybody knows and loves Ralphie. Oh my gosh. That's my first Christmas movie I have to watch every year. Probably has a lot to do with the BB gun, because my son got one at a very young age, and uh, he knew that story well. And of course, you're going to shoot your eye out, right? All you need is a bar of soap, your choice of Lux, Ralphie's preference, or Palmolive, a touch of mellow smoothness. But avoid Lifebuoy. Blah. By comparison, that slip of the tongue won't leave such a bad taste in your mouth. Or, as in Ralphie's imagination, lead to blindness from soap poisoning. Very cute. See the link. Ciao, baby. LMAO, Mr. Brad. Anthony in Massachusetts. Hello, all. Scored the blue moonstone cabs. I always try to get the carved moon faces, whether it is bone or whatever the material to me. They are great in jewelry. Blue moonstone being the best in my opinion. Yes, especially the ones that you just got. Nice tease. Can't wait to see what's coming. Eyes down. Yes, he's referring to what I had said earlier about we got some cool stuff coming for you, but you have to get the old first. Cindy in Pennsylvania. Hello, Rock family. Excellent specimens this week. Love it all. The moon face moonstones would make a great ring and pendant set. There you go, Mr. Anthony. Holding my breath, waiting to hear from the mechanic on my SUV that went into drivetrain protection mode on Sunday. I got it home at 15 miles per hour, only 2 miles. Wow. I haven't had one of those idiot lights come on that means that, but we did have an ABS light come on yesterday coming home from here when we were doing something else. And that wasn't pleasant. If they just would leave it alone, all that stuff, old cars, we never had any of that. We didn't have to. No. The more stuff they put in cars, the more stuff to go wrong. The wrench light came on, and a wrench light. Oh, haven't seen one of those. It came on, and it automatically goes into protection mode. So something in the four-wheel drive system, or transmission, or powertrain. Yeah, all the expensive ones, right? None of which will be cheap, I fear. I hope she isn't headed to an early grave, as it is a 2010, but only 115,000 miles. I inherited it when my mother passed. That is the only excitement here that I don't need. No, indeed. And yeah, that's not many miles. I hope it isn't something that's expensive. I'd like to see you have a four-wheel drive, though. Or your mom did. Cool, Mom. Everyone take care and see you next Monday. Cindy in South Central Pennsylvania. Miss Barbara in Brooklyn. Hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. The Lepidolite diamonds and Cat's Eye opal all arrived. Each is excellent in its own way. The Lepidolite is almost gemmy and so much larger than any online at big prices, as you said. She is referring to that amazing purple crystal Lepidolite. That she bought for really, really little money. The cat's eye is very pronounced. No wonder you stumped us thinking it was a chrysoberyl. That cat's eye also, with that type of eye, without all the other wavy eyes like so many of them other places offer, makes for a very valuable and gemmy cat's eye opal. No wonder you stumped us. And the diamonds are gorgeous, white, well cut, and clean. Brilliant. Literally, your ratings exactly. Great haul. And Miss Barbara knows what she's talking about by way of diamonds and whatnot. And so, yeah, she got the diamonds I offered, which are so inexpensive and so wise of her and the others of you who have gotten those diamond parcels that I've sold. Earth mine diamonds, yeah, the rate we're going, be lucky to see many of them. Received an online advert today for a show about the Founders Collection. And so, anyway, some of the dates got mixed up. But anytime you watch, make sure you check out the shows if you see the Founders Collection come up. It is some of the most outstanding gemstones, rhodochrosites, faceted piece, beautiful imperial topazes and whatnot. So yeah, you might be seeing some of those. So it's very true, very true. With the founder having passed away, it does free up the estate to be able to offer items at very, very reasonable pricing. The problem with our founder, God love him, he reminds me so much of myself in so many ways because he started off as a rock hound and collecting fossils and stuff. You should see his collection of mineral stuff and specimens. And as he became more successful, he bought beautiful items, but he didn't want to sell them. And if he sold them, he wanted to sell them at his price, which oftentimes made it difficult to sell them at all. He didn't care though. He would rather have the item than the money, because at some point, if you don't need the money, the item becomes more precious. And it's allowed him to collect many, many, many fine pieces over the years that he just hasn't cared to sell, or if so, put them at a high price. But that is not the case anymore. So watch for the founders' opportunities, whether they are in gemstones or any crystals and minerals you might see. Okay, let's see where we're going. Going back to hiding in the air conditioning and hoping to keep dodging the lines of intense thunderstorms. My heart goes out to the families of the flash flood victims in low-lying areas of Texas and now New Mexico. When your area is nicknamed Flash Flood Alley, alert sirens are never too expensive. Stay safe, all. Barbara from Brooklyn. Same thing I thought. For alert sirens for the amount of money, well, oh well. Hindsight is always 2020. Miss Barbara goes on to say, hi, Professor, up past 1:30 in the morning due to thunder boomers, so I finished Monday's show and did some shopping. Got the Cerusite and the Georgia Gold nuggets. Yeah, good job on that. The gold will go, listen to this, with my tiny vial containing self-panned gold flecks from outside Charlotte, North Carolina. A lot of people don't realize that the real first gold rush was in 1799 to a place called the Reed Mine. And how it started off, a young boy found a 17-pound gold nugget. That's the way to kick off a gold rush. And so it was on the property that started, which started a gold rush, which was near Charlotte, North Carolina. So remember, though, if you plot all these places, it is in line with the gold belt, which runs southwest to northeast diagonally, kind of along the southern edge of the Appalachians, and then it leaves the Appalachians and continues into the foothills of North Carolina. And amazing amount of gold pulled out of there, and they were still getting a lot of gold until it was the California gold rush, just as it was in Georgia, that caused a lot of the mines, a lot of the people, just to leave the producing gold mines to go out there and try to find even something better. Gold fever is a powerful thing. And they just left good gold behind, and it is still here in the mountains of Georgia. I'm working on it. Let's see. So the cerussite crystals were an interesting form and ultraviolet friendly, so something to look forward to arriving in the mail next week. By the way, it was still the other show that she was talking about trying to watch. Again, trying to find the Founders show. So watch for those when they pop up, and they did, but they sent out a date that or a time that didn't coincide with when it actually happened. So it's worth, though, as they told me. Oh, that's right. I have more information because I don't do Facebook. I don't know these things, but they do archive the shows on Facebook, so you can watch the Founder show that is hosted by Marvin. That was shot yesterday, and you can still buy those items that haven't been sold. Just with those item numbers, call in. So if nothing else, watch the show for some of the amazing specimens that you're going to find on there. Okay, so let's see. We have Anthony, Cindy, Barb. Okay, we have covered. And now, since we don't do trivia, we can go straight to the items. So I'll be right back after I show you this incredible, beautiful lead-off piece. This is a stunner, and I tell you what, I won't leave you right now. I'm gonna give you this item number. Item 118-8824. 118-8824. And let me sign myself. Hey, good afternoon there, Chuck. How's our little corduroy doing?
He's doing great.
Fantastic. Okay, so look at this. I have offered this piece numerous times. At some point, someone's going to say, "Oh, I got this amazing deal on this Goite. Oh, I saw one, being offered for, $300 elsewhere." Well, of course. And you know what? I know why no one has bought it, because I didn't give you a stand with it. So Shawn is getting off of his cheap side, and I am going to give a stand with some items. This one, if it won't stand on its own, it doesn't. But if you balance this just right, it will balance in the stand like this. And I think it's rather attractive like that. Goshenite, look at that. Against a white background, you can see that there is no aqua color to it, Goshenite being clear beryl. Now, here's something interesting to remember. If a mineral or a gem has its availability as a clear white mineral or gem with no color tone to it, I was just showing you the back of this as well. Look at the mica book on this. With no color tone, that is the gem's natural color. Automatically, will know, in other words, if you have a colorless sapphire, in other words, being clear white, then that is what the color of aluminum oxide looks like without any impurities. And so on. So clear Goshenite, that is what the beryllium aluminum silicate looks like with no, because it's allochromatic. So with no iron to color it blue or green. Sapphire will just be Al2O3, aluminum oxide, and clear white without iron or titanium or other impurities. Its natural color is colorless. Same thing, acroite with tourmaline. If you take tourmaline in its pure form without any outside impurities, it will be clear white, and so on. If like fluorite, calcium fluoride, if there is a clear white version of it in nature, that is its natural color in its pure form. So that's an extra little tidbit of information that you can tuck away and know that purple fluorite then is going to have impurities to make it purple. Yellow fluorite, there's something else in it Now, it's not always an impurity. Yeah, you thought it'd be simple. It's not. There's also what they call well, we won't get into like F spots and crystallography, but there's certain types of crystallography that control color as well. It's not always an impurity, but that's another lesson for another day. Take this example of Goshenite. This is a really neat piece. It has got wonderful it tucks in, look at that, how well it tucks in that muscovite book, and which is a phyllosilicate, meaning uh, it forms in sheets. Look at the sheets that could be peeled off in this type of mica. And then look at the beautiful well-shaped hexagon shaped. This is an outstanding specimen. It also has the black tourmaline schorl that is often found with it, and then this feldspar crystals to make it all up. Yeah, so that's going to be feldspar. There's going to be also oxides. So this Latif wondered what this color was, and he makes it tricky for me. That was okay. So that is going to be iron oxide that really creates that, and it's most likely this feldspar material here with maybe iron that's being pulled out of the black sorrel to give it that other color tone. So you can spend 15 or 20 minutes balancing it like I did in this free stand I'm going to give you. And in a minute, you're not going to get it because I'm going to say, why give you something that doesn't work, right? Well, I had it working. You can always goop it up. You get it free anyway, because here's the deal. Here's the deal. After spending all the time on this, I have to sell this item, and I think $48 is the opportunity for a Goshenite crystal. Wow, that's an amazing thing. Actually, here's the one actually that Raven liked real well, and so did I. 127 7125. 127 7125. Now, you 7. Let's see. Yep. 126 7125. 126 7125. Chihuahua is where this one is from. Chihuahua, Mexico. I always remember saying it that way so I could remember how to spell it. Exactly. Chihuahua. And but having lived in Mexico, I certainly am not doing the language any justice by pronouncing it like that. Look at this. Look at this. This is stunning. So we have the black is all Goite. Yeah. And as we come in closer on it, you get to see the classic Wolfmanite crystals. Look at these yellow tabular crystals tucked away. Okay, you can see the little botroids, the little roundish spheres of the Goite. Then look at those yellow crystals tucked away. These are the money shots. That yellow against the, look at that. Again, look how perfectly formed. That is excellent, classic tabular form for Wolfmanite. And tucked down and away, they are protected. Look at that. Look at the globular formations. Is that a official description? Botroidal sounds better, but sometimes globular works as well. Look at that. They almost, I'm going to say this, so don't gross out because I hate them. They almost look like bloated ticks. Yeah. Yeah. Down here we have a tick called the dog tick. It's not the deer tick that get Lyme disease that you find more up north, though we have them here too. The dog tick is a big tick, and it will blow up really big when it is full of blood, and it's not a pleasant sight to see or get off your animal, which I've had to do. If you live in the South, everyone has to if you have animals. Chuck has a farm. He knows how to do all that stuff. Here, look at all these crystals tucked away. Now let's look at the other side. And we have more. We have a lot more. Look at that. Look at that. This is from the well-known eruption mine and in the Los Lamentos Mountains. Named Los Lamentos because the way the wind blows between the peaks where the mine is located, it creates a whistling type of noise. It's very lamentful, is how it's been described. Now, look at this. Look at this. Yes, there's something extra here. Cerussite. We just talked about that. And Miss Barber mentioned getting a specimen. Cerussite is the lead carbonate. It is also often very fluorescent. Now, yeah, we have all kinds of items. This mine is known for many, many, many different minerals. Uh, so this is one you could explore. The orange yellow is probably limonite. And I have no doubt that, look, I just noticed this little pocket. All right. Is that the one? Yeah. And I think I saw a crystal tucked back in there. Yeah, yep, there it is. There it is right there. I just saw that tucked back in there. Look at that little void with all of them have little crystals tucked. Look at that one. There's another crystal tucked away in there. So this should not be going for the sale price I'm going to offer it. These are really collectible. Wolfmanite, always a very desirable mineral in the market, and those are in very good shape for what that is. I have a deal on this. I'm sale price, and it shouldn't. This put up an auction. I'm just going to say it, and go check the auctions. Go do whatever searches you want to go and see what something like that would sell for, and then yeah, you're going to realize that the price of only $78. $78 is outstanding, but it's only worth that if someone takes advantage of it. And then if not, though, we have been lately taking items home because, well, that's what we've always said. That's where they came from. We'll take them back and enjoy them. They might stay here, and if they don't get sold through a couple rounds, it might take 6 months or a year. Then we certainly don't mind returning them to where often the tough decision to remove them is from, which is usually an end table or, in front of the TV or, any flat spot in the house. You're liable to find an oversupply of minerals versus space available. If I only took a picture of our cocktail table in front of where the Raven sits, it is, well, it's a testament to her passion and love of everything from skulls to skulls. As you hear, very seldom does she ever chime in. That one got her to chime in. As she says. Okay, this one, yeah, I kid you not. Item 1269825. 1269825. This is one again that you have seen, and I would love to see what Chuck would carve out of this. Yeah, yeah, I know. See, so that one, I actually had kept this back only because I wanted to carve something out of it, but I just realized the time is, look how Jimmy that is. The time I have is just not going to lend itself to doing that. But look at the depth of the color in the translucent nature to this. So this is a neat piece. You can see it's just portion of the original crystal. So imagine hitting an emerald crystal, actually, even in this quality that big. That would be just really exciting. Yeah. So this one is a great lapidary piece, and or just to add to a emerald crystal display, it would certainly be large enough. Big time sale on this, down to only $48. I know, $48. I know. We say that, but then when no one buys it, we say what again? Yeah. So that's a double what if it comes back without a home after that. No. I know exactly. As Latif just said, I can only try to give it away. That's all I can do. You know, it's the old lead the horse to the water kind of scenario. All right. Again, you're going to have seen this one, but again, we're going to apply a discount to it. Item 1266425. 1266425. Yeah. And look at the colors of nature. I did this, I think, last time, for comparison. So you have the green malachite here. And what you have, here's the emerald. And these are all natural colors. You have the cobaltoin calcite. Yeah, cobaltoin calcite. Now, when we say cobaltoin calcite, um, it's not that with calcite with an impurity of cobalt. No, cobalt is part of its chemical makeup. Therefore, the color is idiochromatic, not allochromatic. So the color of that sharp pink is actually derived not from an impurity, but from an actual chemical makeup having cobalt as part of the formula. So it's a CaCO CO3. And that's your chemistry lesson for the day. All right, now if you look closer, you can see that this is a multi-generational piece. And this is actually worthy of me getting my handy dandy piece, which again, I wasn't going to talk or show extra stuff, but I can't help myself. I want to see this. I want to see the little crystals laying on top of the green ones. And that's what you have here. You have, and let me get my light correct. There we go. Okay, so look at the pink crystals. It's not like they are sand or something like that. They are fully formed crystals. And actually, let me use the little lens, which is actually 60 magnification. And let me see if we can get enough light on it. We may not be able to. Hold on, let me try. Let me try one more move here. Well, first, actually, I love that. Well, forget it. Let me just get the light on the big one. Okay, so should we do the little one or the big one? You can see the really cool crystals overlaying the green. Now let me move this in. I'm just going to see if I can get that little lens. Yeah, I can't get. Oh. I think the depth of field may not. Did I blow it? Did I miss it? Slow. Okay, now, yeah, you try. Can you focus through that? Oh, we're close to that. Let me try to turn the. Okay, we're really close. I can't get this any flatter against it without losing light. Yeah. Hold on. Let me turn on. I have a light switch on this, and let me turn that on. It is UV light or regular light. Let me see if that makes any difference. And in the meantime, hold 1 second. Let me pull this out. I got the UV light on. Let me turn on the other light. Okay. So you can see you have 60x on that one and 30x on that one. And that's what we were just trying to play around with for a minute and see if we couldn't get a focus on the 60x. Oh, it looks like I have the UV light on. No, that's the regular light. And I can't get enough light back there. But on the big one, you can certainly see how cool those crystal growths are over the top of the malachite, which is formed, look at that, over the top of, oh, look at that cobaltoin calcite. That is gorgeous stuff. Gorgeous stuff. Okay, so you can see how it's layer upon layer, and this material is always desirable because it shows so well. What makes this one really special is the generational growth. So you had to have the malachite form over the cobaltoin calcite, which then you had an additional cobaltoin calcite come and form on top here. There's a second layer here, and then of course on top of that green turf. It almost looks like pink snow has fallen on it. So the Mashamba West mine, nice collectible piece, and especially now with the discounted price, making it only $38. $38. They often can saw across here, making it thinner, and then create a piece of jewelry out of the large piece, which is easy to do with the proper diamond saws, and you have something really, really neat. Now, let me show you something. Item number 123 8024. 123 8024. And this is, when I was younger, I remember they used to say that the color in Celestine, or Celestite, as many people know it by, was derived from impurities of gold. Since then, I think I have read that that was debunked, but I'll never forget that. This is a very easy chemical formula. I believe it's a strontium sulfate. So strontium you don't hear about too often, but one thing strontium is used for is something you just experienced and witnessed: fireworks. Strontium is one of the elements they'll use for the coloring in making those dazzling, some of those dazzling colors in fireworks, and also many other industrial uses. Now, if you look at the size of these crystals, look at this. This is very large for Celestine, and some of these are super, super Jenny. Yeah, I just saw that iris in this. We'll go in closer on this one, and let's look at that iris. Look at that. There is nothing like the rainbows in gems. So you can look at the clarity of these. Look at the clarity of these. Look at the size of this one crystal. So there is easily a fastable stone. I only say that just to point out that this is gem quality, and the fact that, yes, you can cut stones from Celestine, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. So this one, as we look at the clarity to that. Look at that. I mean, and look at the size of the crystal. It has a little abrasion there. It's this material grows or has formed at the edge of the ocean, and as they've dug over the years, they've dug further and further back away, and it presents some problems in excavating it. They dig pits that are kind of straight down, so it's kind of difficult to remove some of these specimens from the ground they're found around. But look at this. You can look at the clarity. This is a dynamically large crystal that would, I know, I'm on this because it has some of these other areas. To me, it would be okay to disassemble it, so to speak, and facet some stones out of these crystals. Those are beautiful. You could do it so you would still have a partial specimen as well, or have a neat before and after. Look, I just looked at the clarity through that. Look at that. That one is just really gemmy for Celestine. They are often more opaque and not as deep of a blue color. So this one I have, oh, look at this. So this is, this white material is mostly what the matrix looks like that they're found in. You can see that, and it's very difficult to mine it and dig it out from it, so to speak. Boy, that one crystal right there, I mean, that's a beauty. A beauty. Okay, so I have a special price via the Raven. She said, make a deal on this. This is from the world's best known deposit for this material in Madagascar, the Sakoani deposit. And I even have comments with large facet grade crystals on this piece, and that's what really really makes it the value that it is. But you're going to get this on sale, and uh-oh. Well, right there, the price was $168, but I am going to do this at a remarkable opportunity. I don't know, but make it. Even if I have to lose money on it, make it $58. I know, $58. I'm not. 50. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really sure about this one. I know. I don't want to type in the number into my other system because I am hoping that one. I am just hoping this belonged to a certain a certain collection I had a long time ago that I got it for at a really good deal. If not, I just lost a lot of money. So uh, I'm not going to say a bad word because that's what caused me to say a bad word last week. Was when Latif told me how much I had offered a specimen. Were you here for my bad word? Yeah. From I'd offered it just the last time I had showed it, and I had no idea. I guess I don't always notate things, and I was a little shocked at my new price I had put on it. So, yeah. All right. Now, next, this this is okay. If you saw the founders show yesterday afternoon with Marvin, he led off shortly into the show with an incredible collection of some of the founders' sphalerites, which is simple. Zinc and sulfur is all that makes it up. And it's item 126 5525. 126 5525. Sphalerite is difficult to facet. It's a hardness of 3.5 and 4. That's why it should never be picked up with tweezers, which you might have seen occur. And that, if you thought of it yourself as a no-no, you would be very much correct. Tweezers and sphalerite, if they slip out one time, you're going to abrade the girdle. And it also has perfect cleavage, the bad kind of perfect cleavage, that could cause the stone to easily split off. Okay, now that said, I have one for you that is in a color you don't often see. Check this out. It's also in a beautiful matrix specimen. Look at this. I know. Look at that. Look at that yellow in that guy. And this is a really striking item because of not only the sphalerite, but there's another mineral on this, lowlingite, and with quartz and talc. It's fun to even hold a specimen because you can feel the slipperiness, I guess I should say, that talc and serpentine, that family line of minerals has that greasy kind of cool feel. And it feels that way. So I also have a additional information for you on this particular specimen that will come with it, and it adds a lot of information and value to it. And you can just see here what it tells about the Moroccan, the old time name Cleophane, the talc matrix, and then I've added some of my own notes about the lowlingite info, the chemical formula. It's an iron arsenate. The hardness of it, and the crystal system and the type locality. Type locality being the very first place where it was found, which was the Wolf Mine in Lowling mining district in Austria. So that comes with it. And then let me show you. So you probably don't have lowlingite. You can add another mineral to your collection. The lowlingite are the little well, it's iron arsenate. So you have these little metallic crystals that you can see. Let me catch the light off of there. There we go, right there. You can catch that. There we go. The light reflecting off these silvery metallic crystals. Look at um, the wonderful quartz crystals, and you have that one. I think it's terminated at both ends. Look at this one. There's a twinned quartz crystal right there. Look at the two peaks sharing that one face. Look at the additional imprints where crystals were. So these negative imprints, those are always add extra pizzazz to a specimen, to have the negative imprints of where another crystal had lain. There's several of them. Talc, it would be easy. Remember, talc is soft. You can almost pop some of these out. This, you can actually see where it was prepared, where it actually removed some of the talc from around this specimen, and that's really neat what they were doing by doing that and freeing up the look of those two quartz pieces. There's also some Lowlandite right there. Another really nice quartz. Now let's get to the two main items of attraction. The sphalerites, very, very beautiful. And let's see, speaking of, are there any trigons on that sphalerite, which we were just talking about? They look a little bit like a trigon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That would be interesting. There you go, Mr. Bradley. Mr. Brad, if you want a trigon piece, that you may look at that crystal. Look into sphalerite, see if they have them. Look at that piece just standing up like that. This is a wonderful multi-dimensional specimen, having lots of items to look at, notice, and learn from. Within the talc matrix, I bet few of you have anything like that. All right, don't want to offer this at the deal I'm going to do, but that's what that's what Shawn does. He loses money. So making this one a super discounted opportunity at only $98. $98 on that with the additional info.
It's a shame that this sphalerite is so tough because it's a beautiful stone.
Sphalerite is. It has a dispersion higher than that of a diamond. Why it is so brilliant. And though it can be set into pendants, it should never be set into a ring if you ever intend to wear it. It is uber soft. It cleaves very easily. And I have set many of them. And another error that jewelers make, they don't realize the softness of it, that very few tools can you use that will not abrade it when you, let's say, are finishing a prong. You can't use the same rubber wheels you can use on so many other stones, including even opal, will not work. You're talking about hardness of 3.5 to 4. And you end up abrading or scratching the sphalerites. And for the same reason, you don't use tweezers on them. Hardness is a key element to determining and defining separate minerals. And if you don't know the hardnesses of the gems or minerals you're selling, you're going to have an accident that is preventable. And many jewelers make that error in many different ways, including the simple act of using tweezers or the simple act of filing a prong. If you do not know it, part of the job of a goldsmith or a stone setter should absolutely be know the hardnesses of your gems and minerals. Or anybody, if you're selling items using anything, glass, even setting an item like that on glass is questionable. Glass is harder than sphalerite. So why not do it on something like you see here? I have a cloth cover here. Underneath it, if I want to change the color, it is a black cover. This is talc. Anything else, anything except this soft could affect talc. It is a hardness of 1 on the Mohs scale. It is where it starts. So that's another good reason to have a specimen, because you get, if you collect the most hardness minerals, which you should have them, and you should have them in a quality that is usable to do the most hardness tests on minerals. This would be a good one, even though you don't need talc number 1 before. Remember, I actually gave away talc those talc pencils. They seem to be where you could actually write with them with each purchase. Uh, because everyone needs number one for their Mohs scale of hardness. So yeah, and very few minerals like this are so white, and that makes it really unusual as well. That just white, just really nice fine white color. Yeah, with the crystals against there, I know. This is an exceptional piece. Okay, you get the extra info with it as well. And most likely, no one has a Lowland guide, and now you would. All right, take advantage of that one. The price is certainly a take advantage price. Okay, I'm going to get going. Enough talking. Item 1049822. 1049822. This is one of those specimens that I'm telling you what, I had bought a flat of them, and I know that there was regret from the dealer I knew well when I did him some trading for some pieces. And this flat is one I wanted because it comes from what they call the zircon belt of North Carolina. And that is a area of a couple few counties that produced a lot of zircon specimens. Well, a lot meaning relative. So this mine, the Jones mine, closed down in the 60s. It is no more. To get a flat of these was such an opportunity. I had to. So I'm keeping a couple of the specimens, but I've been offering these. Look at this. These are zircons. Let me show you how well formed they are. This is classic zircon shape. Okay, you see the termination, the pyramidal termination here, and the pyramidal termination at that end as well. So it is, what we refer to as doubly terminated. And let me just see if we can see this a little better for a moment. All right, there we go. So you can see those points. Now, the gap in between that straight flat area, that could be anywhere from non-existent. In other words, it could just be looks like two pyramids base to base, or it can be as long as you see it there or longer. So that's what on the C-axis, it can vary the length, but most commonly you will get those pyramidal terminations at the end. That's how you can determine oftentimes zircon. Now, as we come around this piece, you can see there's another one. And these are easily, like that one, I could probably take this tweezer and remove it altogether if I want. I see a little area there that you could apply a little pressure to and probably flake that off, and take the crystal right out. And it would be complete, full, and terminated back on this other end as well. This is a specimen that you can have fun with. Look at that. Someone has, or Mother Nature removed one from there. And without a doubt, there is crystals within it. That's just, you can tell by the number that you see on the surface versus the size of the piece, that most likely, but that would be a risk. Specimens are always better when they're bigger and larger to break it, to find another one down. It would be chancy. Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go. Is that a portion of one, or let me see. Yeah. Yeah, there's in there. It just hasn't been oh, I see that. I think it's running this way. Well, start with that one and have fun. See if you can find the rest of it. If nothing else, it would be really cool to have a loose one. I don't have one, and this would be easy to remove. I have a price on this. It, it was here's my notes on it. Look at this. $118 rare. It truly is that. But I don't know. It should. Oh, it's fluorescent. Also, the microcline feldspar. What a great specimen. Here we go. I have this super sale priced. Let's make some deals. Let's make it happen. $68 on that. Only $68. That is a wow price. Okay. I am going to set something up for you in just a moment, so I'll be right back. Well, I tell you what, this is debatable as far as offering these. There's so much knowledge right here. And actually, if someone, which I've done before, I've given to many different schools over the years for part of their permanent science collection. And this would be a good thing to do if necessarily you didn't want it yourself, but maybe your grandkids or children go to a school and you want to do something really neat, give them these fossils or keep them for yourself. This is a 3-piece insect collection from the amazing Santana Sierra Formation in Brazil. 100 to 125 million years ago, very reminiscent of the Green River Formation here in the United States in Wyoming, which is about 70 million years old. And how you can tell the seasons, okay, so there's seasons to this, but it is wet and dry season. So if you come and look at the edge of this, you see these two colorings. It almost is, look at how perfectly gapped the different seasons are. I mean, the same exact difference. So what you have is the wet and the dry season. And the difference in the coloring is the difference in the color of the sedimentation that is laid down. Obviously, I would believe that the whiter material here, the lighter color, is from the rainy season, bringing in sediment and whatnot, creating a deeper. And remember, 100, 125 million years ago, from one year to the next, it is probably very exact. Nature was probably much more predictable. So maybe the same amount of rain, because I think that's pretty unusual. The same distance between those. Now, what happens is a bug gets down in the water, settles into the mud. Another layer of mud comes over the top of it and cuts off the oxygen to it. It does not decay like normally. What happens is it fossilizes, either through replacement or through a cast of it. In this case, mostly just classic fossilization of the piece. Now, look at how well this is fossilized. Even the antennae. Let me get a pointer here. This is, and I had to these were through a German dealer, but they're from Brazil, but that is Portuguese, and I don't recognize Portuguese like I do Spanish. I lived in Mexico and I lived in Ecuador, so and 3 years of Spanish, so I still get by with Spanish. But Portuguese, oh my gosh, it might be a different language altogether. Is not, even though the two countries, and I've been to both Spain and Portugal, are next to each other. I don't know. I'm clueless on the Portuguese. So anyway, I had to teach myself what these letters, so I could remember them, HEV, and how I could remember that to be a grasshopper. Well, it was by deduction. This is actually a very, really, look at the wings. You can even see the what is that? When you look at the insect wings, that fine pattern in the wings that you see. Yeah, that is even visible. This is an amazing piece. So, okay, now in the description on the tag I have for you, so you don't have to do what I did, so I can be a smart presenter and remember. Okay, look at this guy. He is exactly what he looks like. Anybody want to say what he looks like? Exactly. This is a 125 million year old cockroach. And this is why they say they have not changed. They haven't. Cockroaches are going to be here after we're long gone. You can even see on the leg, if you've ever seen one, they have those little hooks on the legs. You can look at that. You can even see representations of the eyes looking back at you. Now, you can see that a cockroach is represented by WAZ. And how I remembered what that meant was, what do we do when we see a cockroach? We make it was a cockroach. You step on it. That's how I remembered that WAZ was Portuguese, how whatever it stands for, but it meant cockroach. And that was because it was a cockroach, which most of us, that's what we do. We make it extinct. Good luck with that. We'll be long gone. The cockroach will be laughing. And then this one I really like. You can see also it has, let's see, yep, the seasons of the layers, just like the Green River formations. And also, you can see because of those, it makes this able to be split. These are able to, you can see this hasn't been sawn. So they split these and then they will prepare them. And you can see it's not very deep, but they're able to recognize and remove this. Now, this one has SCH. What that stands for is you need to go back to school more to know what it is, because that's exactly the description. It's an unknown bug. And SCH, for whatever, means unknown bug. For me to remember that, I had to use it as a the beginning of school. In other words, someone needs to go to school longer to figure out what type bug that is. So, going back 125 million years, they should know what that is. No problem. This is one of the last few sets I have. We were selling sets that had 10 pieces in them, but then we broke those down to where there was just some of the primary ones that you would want. This is a very well curated set of 3 pieces I put together myself, and the price on the set of 3, and I'm going to include the stands. Yes, including the stands. That's going to make this entire set of 3 only $68. Only $68. So when you think of that's like $22 each with the stand, whatnot. Wow, that is a fantastic opportunity. Add it to your fossil collection. You will not be sorry. Okay, now I let me show you. What do I have here? Let's look at this. Okay, let me put those up and I'll be right back. One of the uber rare, and I'll add another rare gems left. Look at that. That is faceted. There's the back. The Coast Mine rainbow androdite garnets. And just follow me up this way, Chuck. Okay, now I just noticed when I was spinning this. Look at the color right here along the edge on all these facets on the side. This is one of those, and you may have to look at that. Have to, yeah, iris up down to be able to look at that. Look at that bright chartreuse, or let's use that overused word, neon color in that. Sorry, I just had look at the end of that, showing the color. As we keep turning this around, we haven't even looked at the top. It's all about just getting, there we go, getting the light to, look at, there it is. Wow, did you see that for a moment? I saw it for a moment or more. Look at the colors on that. There was another red, look at that flash coming in there. Oh, what a gem. These are faceted androdite garnets from a mine that was only open 1 year before the Tenkawa village elders shut it down. Look at the color on that side. Every face on this has beautiful iridescence, and then the checkerboard cut really reflects some amazing light. And let me try another. Look at the facet down on the side. I saw blue come across that one. That's what I mean. Look at those. There it is. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I only had a few of these faceted pieces, and I've sold some of them. This is one of the look at that, rare ones. So if you take each facet and you hunt down the angle for the best color, you can see that it's there. Each one having its own separate display of colors. and um, limonite being one of the base colors, creating some of the brown color tones. The gardens were found next to a magnetite mine that had been there for quite some time, and this deposit was never noticed. And then it was. And it was not very long, like 27 feet by 6 feet by 3 feet, something like that. Look at that. Look at that green color. We didn't see that before. So I said, it's just all going to be look at that face now. I just turned it around, and so from in just a very short period of time was it. The rockhounds descended on the place when they found out. Even yeah, Japan has rockhounds big time, and it became a nuisance, and they actually jailed people for trespassing. So it is no more. There's no more. No more. Done. There is no more of this material going to be available. That is it. So for faceted, the crystals are expensive enough. The faceted stones, this is a super rarity, and only a few of you very serious collectors have gotten in on this. But at the prices I've been asking for it, you're buying it at a fraction. This is something that even I'm going to say it. Forgive me, Frank, that our founder does not have. I am the king of the androdite garnet and the rough, the crystals, these faceted stones. I don't know of anyone except maybe one person that has a collection this size, but maybe he doesn't even anymore. So this is one I've sold down and out of my the 4 Pakistani materials. This one is one I have still been hanging on to because I recognize its potential. It was discovered in 2004. By 2005, it was closed. That was the end of it. Price on this one is not what it should be, but yeah, $288. $288. And do you do the math if you want to figure out the price per carat? It's a amazing opportunity. Amazing opportunity. And again, just something that yeah, something that I wouldn't even offer unless I had to. So we'll leave it at that. Now, let me show you. This is another one that I had more than anyone else I knew of them and have sold them down. Item 1, 2, 26. I'm not saying that right. 122, 66, 24. 122, 66, 24. And this is Belemnites. I think every one that I've been putting up, including that beautiful one. You know that one I showed the other week with the red in it? Chuck, you remember that one? That one found a home. That one sold, rightfully so, especially at the price. You know, if you're figuring you're buying crystal black opal and do the math on what I'm selling these for, good grief, you are buying really fine opal for a fraction of what a cabbed stone would be. The fossil nature to these adds so much more value in my mind. So these are belemnites. They are related to a squid, except they are, you know, anywhere from the age of the death of dinosaurs, 66 million years ago, upwards of 255 million years ago. And they belong to the cephalopod family, and many of them are, you know, several inches long. And they left a hard outer shell. The inner shell is where the innards were, and it would be in this part, and many times this part is fossilized or there's a V-shaped opening to it. This one is a little smaller, so the entire piece opalized, but it would have had little tentacles coming out this way like a squid. This, look at that. Look at the color and the fire in this piece. So if you have not picked up one of these yet for your collection, this can be in a gem collection or a fossil collection. It's one of those rare items that is a fossil as well as a gem, kind of like the amylite is, except this goes through a more of a different process. The amylite takes the outer shell and changes calcite into aragonite. So it alters it, creating the slightly different layers of aragonite, which creates the diffraction of light. In belemnites, it is more of a cast replacement, and sometimes you'll get the fossilization. Other times you can get a cast of it. So very special. They're not found, as far as opal goes, anywhere else in the world except Australia. And this is a fantastic piece. Affordable is the key, because you can have some that are very expensive, obviously. So price on this one, I have it sale priced. Add it to your collection. It is going to be only $44. $44 on that. And at 8 carats, let's see, that's like $5.50 a carat. What an opportunity for you. Okay, now let me see. This is 1, 2, 5. Okay. I have. Let me put that there. Okay. This item, it is 1190924. 1190924. And to me, it is one of those, again, really cool specimens that is, I don't know, one of those gotta haves, because let me show it to you. Look at this. Okay. Now, if you have seen some of the sapphires I have offered in the rough lately, remember those 5 pieces where the cut the blue color? Wow. So this is wonderful bicolor. So once you start talking bicolor and you see the crystal shape of that, but it's rounded, so you know it's alluvial. It's been in a stream. And with the bicolors, yeah, you could easily figure out that this is going to be an Australian gem. Now, let me show you and backlight this so you can really see the colors in it. Look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. And what, whether you would cut this or not, that would be, if you were a cutter, up to you. But as far as a specimen goes, that is, look at the zoning and banding. So, okay, if you have yellow and blue in the same piece, what do you get? Green. And that's what you have. You actually have the 3 colors, and green being one of them, often created by the other 2 colors. So this being an alluvial crystal makes it extra special. It is also very clean. If you wanted to play around and cut it. So I am going to make this affordable for your collection, which everyone should have a collection of corundum. Special piece. Special piece. And that would be on this guy. You're all going to love this. So this is from Horse Gully, Arawata, New South Wales. New South Wales is the where about everything is in Australia. Where Sydney is, where Lightning Ridge is, except all the way at the corner of Queensland. So where almost all the action's going on, including mining, and until you get out to Broken Hill, part of Australia. So anyway, this guy, you know what? I'm gonna make it so someone grabs it. $28. $28. That is a super sale. Super sale. Now, this we're going to go through some of these next items really quickly because I have been talking more than I have been showing. Let's look at item number 1244725. And it has to do with passion. I just love this stuff so much. I could talk about it all the time, every day. Except I can't see you every day. So I get it all out in one show. I have to look at these, look at these, look at these. Now, remember when I showed you the zircon and I said that the on the C-axis it could be as short as what looks like pyramid to pyramid, and that's what you get there. So these are spinels. Spinels will often, if you're looking for trigons, will form trigons as well. These belong to the cubic crystal system or isometric, in other words, equal sides. This is, I had 3 parcels of these, and I think 2 of them have sold. This has a rare mackle in it. A mackle is a flat triangular crystal that often is twinned to wind up that way, and that's what I believe this crystal is as well. Is a twinned mackle. You can see that it is facet grade quality. And then look at this. Look at this jewel. Let me backlight this one a little bit so you can get a little more glimpse of the burgundy color tone in this piece. Look at the. Let me. Yeah, sorry about that, Chuck. Let me. There you go. Look at that burgundy color in that. So we have that one. Let me get this one up to the light. Look at this. This is very well defined for the crystal shape. And then you have some stunning. Look at that. Look at that color in that. That is, wow. That is showy. I'm going to do one more thing here with this. So follow me for a moment. I'm going to put this right here. And then, Chuck, let's see if you can shoot the top of this. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to cut this light off. And let's see that. Look at how beautiful that crystal is by way of color and saturation. And I mean, Mother Nature, can you imagine just finding crystals like that? I mean, there's people that do it for a living and they have to, and they sell them, you know, and that may be an entire day's worth of finds. And so many of them are alluvial. These are well formed, but you can see there's some alluvial rounding to some of those as well. So anyway, Burma 3-stone crystal parcel. Here's a opportunity, and get them at sale price. Now, I still use Burma, and here's the reason why. The United States and the UK, England, did not recognize the new military junta that took over what is now known as Myanmar in 1989. And the United States, when they changed the name to Myanmar because it was an unjust change of government, they never formally recognized Myanmar as Burma. So, being from the United States, I would rather call it Burma. Burma is what more people can relate to it by way of name, just like a Ceylon sapphire is more relatable than calling it a Sri Lankan sapphire. So yeah, Burma, and it is perfectly legit to do so. And now you learned a little bit of history as well. So take advantage of these 3 pieces, super sale priced at only $58. $58 if you do not have some really nice crystals of Burma spinel. Wow. Here fills that, plugs that hole in your collection. So you can get 3 spinels very inexpensively. You can get that Australian multicolor sapphire very inexpensively. What a trip around the world. Here, let's do something else inexpensively. Item number 1082922. 1082922. And this is, let's see. Okay, Hessonite garnet. Now, Hessonite garnet belongs to the Grosvenor garnet family. And let me show you. look at the quality we have here. Facet grade. This is some beautiful, beautiful material. And old stock, because this, I know it was a long. I tumbled it. And wow, look at every one of these. And these kind of colors, they call it imperial hessonite, and cut stones have been done from larger hessonites or this size as well. You can see why they would call it imperial, due to the very similar color to imperial topaz. Really, really fine, fine grade of stones here, including some more of the red orange ones as well. And so remember, let's do something here. Scary. Am I going to get it right? Am I going to get it wrong? Nothing clings to the N52, telling me that they are exactly what I'm representing them to be, which is garnet, and the variety being grossular. If they were spessartines having manganese in them, manganese is magnetic. Many people don't realize that, but yep, they would have an attraction to it. Citrines, I would be able to tell from the inclusions, and you can actually see general shapes of those if you take the tumbled. Well, I know what the rough looked like. So the rough had crystal faces that would remind you of a garnet and not a quartz. So, all right, this entire parcel, sale price, which is ridiculous, because if you had to buy facet grade rough of something that would tumble this kind of quality, it very expensive, very hard to get a hold of. $24 though, only $24 for the parcel. That is a sale opportunity. Now, this is the silly one. Item 1228324. 1228324. And I think we laughed about this last time. I guess we're going to laugh about it again because they didn't sell. These are those aquamarines. These are, look at those natural colors. Look at these natural colors between the hessonites, and then look at these aquas. And look at this. Look how clean these are. This one stone, remember this one, Chuck?
Yep.
We talked about this one stone. I triple checked it to be an aqua. It is, yes. And the very rare, look at how well cut that is. Round aquas. I think they're even a matched pair. Yeah. And they didn't sell. You see what I priced them. Look at that one's with a little bit of green tone in it. So no heat has been put on that. Maybe no heat on all the others, but I can tell you that green one has definitely not been heated. That big one is worth the entire amount. The small one is worth the entire amount. The round ones are worth the entire amount. It's ridiculous. 10 carats. All right. So after this price, these come home. I will never offer them again. Simply that. $38. $38 for all of that. And it's old material. Try to get aqua at $3.80 a carat. Like that. That one little small stone upstairs, that'd be $100. And that's in the range it's worth. I don't know. Go figure. Item 1215-724. 1215-724. So since we were talking about garnets, which we were, I have a perfect, look at this. Look at this. Now, some of you, all of you, maybe should recognize that garnet from a specimen I showed last week. And if you see where that comes from, you might recognize it, or it may sound familiar. What about that amazing gooseberry, where it originally got its name grossular, the rosolite gooseberry color grossular garnets specimen I showed last week, that I don't know, should have sold. If not, I think that one's coming back home because it was outstanding. The one with Vesuvianite, it had amazing fluorescent Vesuvianites in it. Lots and lots of rosolite garnets. Okay, so it also could have garnets like this, because this garnet's from the same place. Look at this. This is a really beautiful greenish yellow Mexican grossular garnet, and if nothing else, look at that. It's wonderful as an educational piece. It's multiple garnets forming a cluster, and that would be interesting. I want to see something. Garnets have a interesting way of intermingling often with other members of the garnet family, as I've talked about before. Nope, nothing there. And these are in their pure form, pure grossular. So I have a really special price on that one, especially. I think it would make a great educational piece, and that's why. Wow. Okay. Do it for $9. I kid you not. $9. I know. $9. Look how big that is. That's huge. That's a huge critter. 58 or 58. Yeah, 58 carats. Really nicely formed. So, yeah, doing some specials, but they're only specials and only good deals if you buy them. Now, full garage. Oh, this one. This is one. I had only showed this one time months and months ago. It is item number 123 5324. 123 5324. This is botryoidal Moroccan calcite. It's often called cave calcite. I'm not sure. I know, and I've been in many caves that you can find formations like that in caves, but I don't think that this particular one is that. It's just often kind of a nickname for it. This, though, is an outstanding specimen because it has just that pure, I guess, eggshell color tones. You can see by one of the botryoidal pieces that has, like, been broken off. You can see how they're formed with layers of growth. This is in fantastic condition. Just a beautiful formation. And I'm curious about something. So I am going to put the garnet back up there for a minute. I am going to put this right under the desk because actually you know me, I have all my tools in front of me. And calcite can, let me put that right there, sometimes be very fluorescent. Let me check this. Okay, so probably better for you because if it would have been fluorescent, that would have been made it a lot more expensive. Look at how you can see the little outer shell kind of coming off of this. So you can see then that it would have formed in layers like you would expect something in a cave to form as each sequential mineral layer is trickles down and can create the slow growth. Remember, most of these form just at the ambient temperature of wherever it is. In other words, at room temperature. This one, I am going to sale price it, which is going to make it a really fantastic value. And that would, oh yeah, why not? Okay, make it $68. Only $68 on that. And look how big that is. That is outstanding specimen. An outstanding specimen. And large. So nice cabinet quality size. Okay, let me have a moment and put that up correctly. I'll be right back. If you knew what the little artisanal miner had to do to get this specimen. We showed a picture several weeks ago of Belky's Mountain, and there is nothing on the mountain. All there is a little tiny white outcropping where they have dug for the last 6 years. The outcropping has maybe doubled in length. To look at it and envision it, maybe it looks 60 feet long. The hike up to get to the deposit Wow. And there's nowhere. There's not a tree. There's nothing. If you had to use the restroom, there's not even a big rock. No, it's really crazy what it looks like. And in the 6 years since, there was a before and after. You could slide this little line across the picture, and it showed you what it looked like 6 years later by way of mining. No one with big bulldozers, nothing, which is great because it's a little individual miner. Then, then they have to basically be smuggled out of Iran. And if you knew what it takes to get these to you, and then when you go to get them from the dealer, I won't say dealers because I think one guy, maybe gets them. He said he has said 3 different places. One time he said it was well, this Armenian dealer said it was Armenian because Armenia, of course, close to Iran. A Turkish dealer said that it came from Turkey because they don't want to say it's from Iran. And if you get the most honest of them you can get, they'll say Persia, which is the old name for Iran. When it was the long ago was Persia. So I work with mostly just one straight up dealer that I've known for a long, long time that I got Ethiopian opal from. And so I have not known anybody else to be able to get this material. But when I have mentioned it to other trying to find it, other dealers, they will never say Iranian andradite. It's Armenian, it's Turkish, it's one guy said it was, well, it's a country near Iran. That's just so they don't want to say they want to protect their sources. They don't want to be in trouble. This is something that is difficult to find. I am going to price this, take advantage of it. This is a fantastic specimen, only $88. And look at that. Look at this. This is that really desirable green. Let me show you. It is an emerald green color, if I can get the light right on that so you can see it. The other amazing thing on this one is that the shape, the dodecahedron is really well formed, and it has it's complete. Yeah, it's complete. There's a really good colored green in it. You can see it's a complete crystal. If you tried to remove any more material, it would probably you could easily release it, but you can see how complete that is. And in evaluating this material, that accounts for a lot of value, more so than often the color. This has a combination of both. Then you can see other small ones. You also have, this is a world-class piece. You have calcite, which is the white material right here. And then you have a diopside, which is a light green color to some of the matrix when you see some other pieces on this. So an outstanding piece for the money and really a hard one to find. Also, if you already have one, it's a great item to gift someone else that doesn't have one. Item 1244 925. 1244 925. So I had mentioned the Pakistani minerals. This is one of your rare opportunities. If you've been waiting, then you're going to do well on saving some money because I'm going to sale prices. Look at this pink apatite. Pink apatite, one of the largest, finest, nicest ones that I have had, and even that I have left, which is very little. And I didn't even actually know I had this one with this large of a crystal. You can see, look at that. And then here's another one. And what is so cool is to find the crystals, a UV light, because these will glow incredibly beautiful orange, bright fluorescent strong yellow or orange color tone. And so you can find them, even the small ones. There's another one there. But look at this. This is a large crystal. It is the genuine natural pink color. And there is this is as close to red for apatite that I have ever seen. So I have never seen a natural red apatite. This is the color that gets the closest to it. This beautiful color, pink. Um, yeah, we'll leave it at that. Price on this, let's discount it, give you a great opportunity, and make it only $78. $78 on that. Huge discount. Huge discount. Now let's do some silly stuff. Item 1209124. 1209124. Let me show you another chance that you have on a collection of emeralds. If you don't have some of these, then they just make a wonderful display. Or you can work with them in creating jewelry. These are Muzo Colombian emeralds. And look at those beautiful crystals in the natural matrix. These are also good for study specimens, you know, so you can learn the Colombian if they fluoresce, if they don't, if they have any parasite on them, which is a named after J.J. Paris, one of the first managers of the Muzo mine, and it is a material that is radioactive, actually. Look at that. I thought for a moment that looked like it had a trapeche form in it, and that would be really lucky for someone. So anyway, you can see, look at all the little crystals that look like they have been tumbled. And I have a fun price. Make them yours because, wow. Yeah. So, yeah. How about this? $18. $18. I giggle because if someone doesn't get them for that, it's going to be someone missing out. Now, let me show you next. I have, you know, I'm not sure why that opal pendant has not sold yet. I'm not sure if I should show it again. Item 1265125. 1265125. Yeah, Raven handed me this, rightfully so. It is one of those super cool Vivianite crystals. And I tell you what, I sold out on most of all that material that I had was lucky to get. And Vivianite, remember, is one of those iron phosphates. It is forms in a low or no oxygen environment. It forms completely clear. When the it is exposed to the air, it actually turns blue or green, blue and green in color. Now, this deposit was one of the most recent finds in the world. Now, it's also known to be to grow in even caskets, even old caskets that are dug up, and the bodies there will find crystals of vivianite growing because it feeds on no oxygen, which of course you're going to find in a closed casket. It feeds on iron and it feeds on phosphorus, both components that are left over in the body, and so can form that way. These don't come from any thing as cool and spooky as a as a cemetery or a casket, but they are formed off the Amazon River up a tributary, off of that tributary in a swampy area, in a bog, where there were pods, what they call pods, or basically pockets. And they open these pockets up, and here they find these amazing crystal specimens, along with ludlamite, another mineral that can be found in association with it, and siderite, which is an iron carbonate. You have a little bit of siderite, which is really neat down here. You have the negative impressions of some and the actual ones, so you get a little bit of everything in this piece. And then, of course, look at the perfect cleavage. Look at how parallel the two sides are to that. And then it's easy to backlight. You can see blues and greens in this. Now, it is a hardness of 1.5 to 2. I have never seen or known any faceted material, but that doesn't mean that there isn't somebody that has tried or successfully been able to do that because that's a challenge, and facetors usually love that challenge. The retired ones who have the time. Here, add that one to your collection. I have it. I have it priced well. How about this? How about this? $21. $21. Yeah. Yep. Exceptional opportunity to add to your collection. Wonderful crystal. Just a beauty. Just a real beauty. Okay. Now, some more amazing opportunities. Item 125, 25, 25. Well, so 1, 25, 25, 25. Wow. Okay. That's a good year. So let me show you. This is a perfect item for the coming month of August, being the birthstone of August. Look at these. And then look at this exceptional crystal. This is Burma peridot, and you'll be able to see the difference in color. The difference in color between the Burma material and some of these other fancy cuts. So you have some fancy cuts peridot. I don't know how or where I got these from, in an estate, most likely. Yeah. And I have never seen them cut like that. A lot of peridot has inclusions, so these are actually, especially for fancy cuts, look at that, relatively really clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this, look at that. You can see all the way through that piece, including the tweezer, just how clean that is. So that Burma piece will cut a nice stone. So another one. So it's an old stock, and wow. I guess you didn't, if you were willing to gamble, you didn't want them for 38. Make it $28. $28, which is for peridot. Go look at how much they're asking for peridot like that now. You'll be as surprised as I was. And now, so speaking of, oh, there we go. Oh, by the way, here. This is what you need to know. You see this? Mm-hmm. Yep. Natural peridot will have, and that one does too, will have a magnetic effect. And I had already done for you, this is another bag of peridot, but remember I showed you the false one that was in there that was not magnetic. So a simple magnet, great for a quick check on peridot. Now, let me see. Yes, I have something here that, oh, I don't know. Should I really include a stand with it? That would be a really special thing for me to do. So I might. Let me look at item number 1207724. 1207724. Wow. Yep. Look at this. I only had shown this one time long ago and far away. Look at this beauty. Let me just move that to the side. Now, this is really unique for several reasons. First, I like the way it displays in the stand, actually, because you can barely see the stand. I like that. So if you display that way. All quartz. This is all quartz. And then look at this unique line of apophyllite. Clear white apophyllite coming through here. This is Mumbai quartz from the Mumbai district, which the mines have, basically quarries have closed Mumbai due to the danger, and the city, the town overrunning the quarries. In other words, building right up to them. Look at those apophyllites coming through there. And then this beautiful face of quartz, which is quite rare to have just quartz. And it looks like on a bed, actually, of maybe it's Gennardite, which is possible because it doesn't feel exactly like quartz, but you can see how white and clear. So remember, if it's white and clear, it's in its original natural color of quartz. Of course, we know quartz comes in so many other colors, as can apophyllite can be different colors as well. So you have a look how large that is. A really nice, impressive, unique piece because of the fact that it is so well. It only has quartz and the apophyllite. It doesn't have the stilbite. It doesn't have all the other often zeolites that are accompanied with it. And wait till you hear this price. This is super sale priced. I am asking only $38, and we're putting a final with that. It's going to come with the stand. It's going to come with the stand, and that's a fancy stand. Probably cost me $2. So when you're pricing it only $38, look at that stand, brand new, not even scratched. Imagine that. The stand becomes something of value, something that allows you to get the piece at home and put it up immediately for display. You can have it like that, or the way I had it, like that, which I kind of like better. So, opportunity. Now, this next one is very similar. It is item 117-1324. 117-1324. I'm having to hand type these in because they're that far, that they're that old, and I haven't featured them since or recently because I like them. Look at this. Look at this one. Okay. Not much explanation probably needed here. You probably recognize it for some of its attributes. One of them being the botryoidal formation you see in malachite here. And look at that. Look at that. Malachite, it seems, forms in so many different ways. And then it can replace other items, as we know. And look at down here. Then, okay, see how it changes? Then as we come in and look at these, you can actually see in between you have another generation of growth. Let's look at that closer. And look at that. In between those botryoidal formations, you have, let me put the light, sorry about that grass green color of additional growth. It looks like cellular growth in between it. There we go. Look at that. How cool is that? So, what was happening for it to go to this one type of growth, then to this? It's amazing. Now, let me show you something spectacular. Okay, first, here, it's real heavy. So when the specimen is heavy, you know that it's probably a barite versus dolomite, which is often found with these two. There's also gypsum. So we'll cover that in a moment, but look at this. This is where I really love this specimen. This is cabinet quality. Look at the banding of this azurite. Look at that. That is so cool. So you had malachite that came along. And if you look at the fibrous malachite. Let's go in a little closer on this. And you can see that there's another form of growth here as well, which appears to be the fibrous form of malachite that you see. Then layers of azurite. Look at that. And then another different form of malachite on top of that. So in this one specimen, you have fibrous malachite, botryoidal malachite of one form, then botryoidal malachite here, and then the final, you have botryoidal malachite with what appears to be chrysocolla over the surface, just a thin layer in this one area over the surface, and then that malachite that grew in between them, like we saw earlier. Now, as we come around this piece, we'll come back away from it a speck so you can see everything going on. Yeah, look at this. Then we come around, we have more of everything. So this is except for this area here, beautifully, beautifully covered. It is a fantastic display specimen with many different aspects to it. Yeah, with barite, gypsum. Yep, there's gypsum, which is maybe in the form of selenite. Gypsum's just selenite's just a higher quality form of gypsum, and you have some of that the sparkly material you can see back here for that, and quartz as well. A wonderful piece and a wonderful price. Yeah, really wonderful price. That's a large specimen, but I am wheeling and dealing, and I hope everyone takes advantage of as many of these as you can. $44, only $44 on that. Now, let me show you a couple of really neat items. 1017021. 1017021. Now, if you do not, everybody should have what I am featuring for you next, and that is a fulgurite. A fulgurite. Now, fulgurite is created by a lightning strike in sand. Now, when you hear, it's true. When you hear that a lightning bolt is no wider than the thickness of a pencil, you can see how true that is. Look at that. And on the inside, not the outside, because the outside you have grains of sand, but on the inside of a fulgurite, you see that shiny portion? That is a word difficult to pronounce, but it turns into a type of quartz called le chatelierite. Yeah, easy for me to say. Le chatelierite, and it is one of the forms of quartz, but it is only the portion that you see melted on the inside of that. Look at that. That is a perfect example. These were found by a sand operation, by a guy that worked at a sand operation in Polk County for decades. And he was the only one wise enough, as this big machine sifted out everything but the sand. He collected the fulgurites. He collected the fulgurites out of the sand, and good for him by doing it. And by that, he ended up with quite a collection over the years. Fused sand into glass, fulgurite. Sale price on this one, it's only $18. $18 on that guy. Oh, here's some extra info that says exactly what I just meant. From sifting shakers of a mine producing fine sand for building materials. He was wise to collect them out of there. So grab that one while you can. Now, let's see. Clock is ticking down, but we still have a few minutes left with you. Let me get to as many things as possible. And item 1243825, 1243 825. Here is a piece that I was also surprised hadn't sold at some other point. Yes, sir. That number would be 1243825. Yep. All right. Look at that. Look at that. That's a really fantastic specimen. Look at the crystallization of the quartz, and then look at this cool tourmaline, but it's not just a tourmaline. Look around it. There is little fine lepidolite that has grown around it. Now, how did it do this? How did this band of lepidolite form around the tourmaline? Which came first? I mean, how could the tourmaline, had to leave space for that? I don't know. It's just a really something I can't answer. Here's another one with lepidolite around it also. Look at all the quartz crystal peaks on this. Some twinning. Most likely you have additional lepidolite. But what a fun piece that is. Very interesting for lots of reasons. I really like the lepidolite. I have seen very few of anything like that. This big sale price on this. I am marking it down to only $28. Take advantage of that price. $28. I have to leave time for us to do a special giveaway. What usually ends up to be a giveaway. Item no. First item 125 2225. 125 2225. No, 125. Yeah, 2225. Okay. Here is, so speaking of tourmaline, which we were, look at this. Here is Paprok, Afghanistan tourmaline. And look at that. Look at that cap of green on that specimen, or what appears to be green. Could be another color, not quite sure. Look at this. Look at that. Beautiful crystal of orangish pink. And then look at that bicolor. A really nice assembly of, and look at, well, there's your trigon right there. If you're looking for one, I tell you what, that is kind of unusual, by the way, for tourmaline. Maybe just the way it terminated like that, but I haven't seen too many that have done that. Grab all three of those crystals. I tell you, yeah, all three of them for, well, I know someone will take them for this price, for $15. Yep, $15 on those. Now, as I said, I was going to be making some deals, and that is an example of it. Item, you know, you guys didn't want that before. So maybe item 1205 224. 1205 224. Look at what is next. We'll drop those out. Look at this. Look at this. Okay. So everyone should know what these are by now. And this is fun. If you want to have fun, you can do this with your home oven. That's all I'm going to say. This is unheated natural color tanzanite. And tanzanite, if you change the direction that you look at it, it certainly changes color. Very educational parcel here. If you want to play with it, heat treat those, see how they come out. Look at, they're rather clean, but wow. That's actually a nice kind of crystalline form there. You have some clear stones, indeed, in that batch. Anyway, have fun with them if you want, because how about take them all for $18? $18. Now, I have next, as I try to get as much to you as I can. I would show that malachite, but let me see. Something from Massachusetts. If anybody wants a, here we go. Let's look at item 123 4224. 123 4224. And let me see. I think I missed the number. 123 4224. 123 4224. And look at here, we have a sapphire, but this sapphire is well cut, and it has very educational inclusions in it. It's a Sri Lankan stone, carat 94, and 7.2 by 6.2. And it has if you want to learn about inclusions, we don't have time to talk about them in this now, but you can see the wonderful color. It has inclusions that will really help you understand and learn from them. And I certainly did. So this would be one of those edu gems that I had talked about earlier. Very well cut and educational to look inside of. And I have this super sale price and offering it for only $48. $48 for almost a 2-carat sapphire. Super educational piece for you. Now, I hope someone takes advantage of that, or those of you that like to learn or need items to learn from, that is one of those that would do that. Oh, there we go. Breaking the equipment. All right. Only first time I pulled that off. I thought that was pretty good. Okay, let me see. Looking back behind me on the items, but let me show you this guy. Item number 126 5225. 126 5225. My totem animal, an owl, wonderful owl. And this guy carved out of beautiful quality British Columbian nephrite. And nice even color material. Nice carving. A-grade material on the owl. Very difficult. I've talked to my nephrite people that have 4 claims, and getting very difficult because of what they call First Nations, the Native Americans that own the claims. And due to the jade show, they think their claims are worth a lot more. The jade's worth a lot more than what it really is, and it's been quite an ordeal for them. But they did lock down for a few more years the right to mine, which was life-saving as a family business for them for decades. Price on this guy, I am making it less than I can replace it for now. $58. Only $58 on that. So take advantage of that, because you can look at the size of that and the carving. It's a wonderful, wonderful piece. Now, what I'm going to show you next, this was up in the air whether I should even offer it or not, because it's so cool. Item number, if I can read this, 1218 124. 1218 124. I couldn't believe no one got my silver box last time. This is a fantastic piece and can easily be just hand polished with any silver polish. No dents. Has a nice tight lock. So it's like a pill box. Yeah, it has a really nice tight lock to it. You can line it with a little felt in there and put your ring in it. It really closes tight, so you could use it to store something that's special to you, like a ring. And it's sterling silver. We all know what sterling silver has done price-wise in the market. I'm not changing the price on this. I'm going to offer this, even though silver is a lot more than it was, for the ridiculous price I offered it to last time, and it didn't sell. $38. $38 for that. And, that's, I don't know. Leave it at that. You should know what that means. Yeah, special deal. Take advantage of it. Now, let's see. Item number 125. Let me read this. 125 28 25. 125 28 25. And I have natural. Look at this. Beautiful. Look at the color greens. And Burma ruby. Burma ruby and Australian green sapphire. Matched pair of ruby. I got these in 1992 when I made my swing through Australia and went into Burma. Well, I went through Australia to get the green gems, and when I was in Thailand, got the Burma stone. So I did both of those in the same year, 1992. So excellent opportunity and excellent price, because for everything you see, including a half carat of Burma ruby, only $36. $36 on that. Okay, now that's the last item on the show. Let me tell you what we're doing. The next item I show you is not going to have a price. We are going to do a silent auction. A silent auction. First time we've tried this, a silent auction. We have, what I'm going to do, I'm going to feature the item that you're going to, if interested, make a bid on. Now, how this is working is kind of flying by the moment, but Shawn at gems.com. That is all you have to type in to make a comment or leave a bid. Now, only if you win, if you've never bought anything before, then you'll have to work with customer service so that they can get your information and, of course, payment on the winning item. No reserve. So, in other words, it's going to be, and I will show everybody's bid. So, I will show everyone's bid. I want as many bids as possible. If you are the only bidder and you bid $1, you will get the item for $1. Whoever is the highest bidder wins the prize. Huh? Yep. So everybody gets one bid, and you can either include the bid in your comment, or you don't even have to comment. You can just say, because your email will pop up and it'll be, Jane in Texas has bid $5, $10, whatever it may be. You get one bid, and the winner is announced in next week's show. So we show the item in a moment. You send in to Shawn at gems.com. You can include a comment or just your bid. Whoever is the highest bidder wins it. And all of you know there hasn't been that many people commenting. I want more participation if possible. And it's a way for us to try to do an auction, kind of experimental. But you will find out from 1 week to the next if you're the winner. And you only, of course, have to, if you're the winner, then purchase it at that point. So, little experimental. Hopefully, it's a little bit of fun. And it may also be a great way for you to get something really inexpensively. It's just like life, a gamble on what you think it might be worth against what someone else might think it's worth. So let's have some fun. I'm going to show you the item. Then, while you're watching it, I'll wish you a wonderful week. Let's take a look at the item. Look at this. Okay, so it is a parcel of opals. These are all been tumbled, and they are of two origins, Australian, and here is a Mexican opal piece. This one actually has been cut. It hasn't been tumbled, but you can see all the mixed opal within it. Look at this piece. A lot of these I had tumbled back when I was a teenager. So it was a great way to polish down to like the fire layer of a stone, and then tumble it to see just what kind of finish it may look like. All of these have color. These are also fantastic. Look at it. So you don't have to do anything to them. They are ready to go for jewelry or just for the collection. That has color going through the entire piece. They're easy to drill. You can carve them. They're going to have, potentially very little in them. Here is a cabochon already done. I don't see any crazing in that one. So that would be a nice stone. If so, here's another one. I actually remember cutting this one at a really young age. I mean, a really, really young age. I didn't do a back bevel on it, which is a big no-no, which tells me that, yeah, I cut that. I remember getting yelled at by my instructor for not having done that. And they should have back bevels on them. Here's another stone. So these, being tumbled, they're ready to go for display, for collection, or for you to learn on as well. Here's a large opal, has a big flash of green through it. These are great uh, instructional pieces. They're great hobby pieces. They're great to improve upon and cut. They're great for doublets. Really good for creating some nice doublets. And I think that was my intent on some of these flat surface ones. So, all right, you can bid $1. You can bid whatever you think will be the highest bid that you're willing to pay, and win them in auction. We will show the bid, so we'll be transparent with that. And if you're the only bidder and bid $1, you will get all those for $1. No reserve, one bid per caller. Shawn, you did that perfectly, Latif. Thank you. That is perfect. Shawn at gems.com, silent auction. There you go. So I have already wished you well. I'll wish you well again as you gaze at these amazing opals, and you have a fantastic opportunity to get them at a well, whatever price you think they're worth. Just having a little fun with it, and during these dog days of summer, huh? I don't know about you guys, but it's certainly hot down here in Georgia. Okay, I'm thinking, is there anything else I need to cover? That should do it. I have enjoyed the show as always. You guys are wonderful for all your support. The 8 years I've been here, and then the 9 years prior in the live show. So, yep, 17 plus years here at Gem Shopping. We have Latif, 25 years here, I think. So, lots of experience, time, and years spent here enjoying what we do, and that is bringing you an education along with fantastic opportunities at pieces in this show, especially that you wouldn't ever see in the rough. And in the live shows, you get to see jewelry in the finished form of some of what you see in the rough here. So, start to finish, from ground to a piece of jewelry, you can see it all right here at Gem Shopping 24/7. You can call the number you see on your screen, and that will get you a live, real sales rep that will help you with your needs. Thank you again. God bless all of you. Stay safe, stay cool, and I'll see you next Monday. Cheers.